Okay, this episode, Dennis and I dive into a lot of gear talk related to base camping and backcountry hunting. There's a lot of gold nuggets in it. We talk a lot about nutrition and just different gear tactics and what we like to bring on backcountry hunts versus base camp hunts. Make sure you check this one out.
Welcome to the Mountain Dude Podcast, brought to you by Initial Ascent, where we share stories of grit, determination, and the relentless pursuit of growth. This is a space where backcountry hunting meets the deeper lessons of life. Success born from struggle and the art of carrying heavy loads more comfortably, both physically and metaphorically, through faith and perseverance. Join us as we explore the paths that shape us, celebrate victories big and small, and fuel our journey with hope and tenacity. This is the Mountain Dude Podcast, where we climb higher together.
Well, Mountain Dude Podcast again. A little gear talk with Dennis. This is going to be a good one.
This is going to be so much fun.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but I'll probably enjoy this podcast more than, having somebody like Joe Rogan on.
Oh, this one's going to be special.
It's going to be awesome.
I've been like a little kid on Christmas, like losing sleep last night. I'm like, I just want to talk gear. This is both of our passions. So
Absolutely.
we had to catch ourselves to when we first got in here. We started talking, and about 15 minutes later, I'm like, oh, we should probably save that for the podcast.
Well, that's what gearheads do.
Yeah, it's the truth.
It's a nonstop deal.
Yeah.
So,
well, before we get in, let's start this the right way with a prayer, yeah?
sounds good, bud.
Dear Lord, we're so gracious to be able to just gather together as friends and family, Lord, and just share this moment together, Lord. We love you, and we just ask that you may just guide our words and be with us throughout this day, Lord. And wherever someone may be listening, Lord, just touch them. May you give them some guidance. If they're headed to the mountain, may you just keep them safe, be with their families back at home, Lord, wherever they may be. Maybe you just show them a little extra love, Lord. There might be someone that needs it. Lord, we love you. We ask that you may gain glory from this. We say these things humbly in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go. We could literally start anywhere with this one. This one's going to be a good one.
Absolutely.
It's probably going to start. My assumption is we probably end up with two parts. We'll see.
Okay.
We might have to break it. We'll see where we
That's
end up.
fine.
But we'll.
We can do that.
We'll see where we end up with it. I want to start talking about, we were just talking about it a little bit, the difference between truck hunting and backpack hunting.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's a common misappropriation of gear that people run into. I want to talk a little bit about that. Like, what are the differences you're going to bring on a backpack hunt? Do you bring some of the same stuff as you would on a truck hunt? Like, how do you're saying you don't have the days usually, so you haven't done the whole big base camp thing, outfitter style?
And I'll be honest with you. I mean, I didn't grow up here,
Right.
So I didn't have the luxury of having like family, that we always did that. I will tell you that my first experience elk hunting in Idaho was back in 2000, and I got invited to go on an elk hunt. Now, little backstory, I'm not from around here.
Right.
In case you couldn't tell.
Yeah. No, nobody could tell. No accent, nothing.
I know. It's still with me after
right
25 years. But I got invited so I was a team roper, and I got involved with a bunch of dudes that liked to team rope and a bunch of cowboys, and they invited me on this elk hunt, and we were going to pack in there with horses and all that. Well, actually, we didn't pack in there with horses. We just had our horses there. We drove the truck to where we were going to camp.
Okay.
But let me tell you something. These dudes, especially this one guy in particular, Marv was his name, he did it right. He set up a wall tent for sleeping. He set up a wall tent for cooking.
Cook shack. Yep. Okay.
And he had all the meals planned, and it was all Dutch oven style.
Oh, I'm in.
Where do
I sign up?
I gained 10 pounds on that. Now, I didn't realize that there'd be as much beer
Yeah.
as there was on this hunt. But my introduction to base camp hunting, I was spoiled.
Okay.
I mean, the food was absolutely amazing. And we had, early morning breakfast. That dude would get up at 3 a.m.
Oh, boy.
He would do a breakfast casserole or breakfast burritos or something, all Dutch oven style.
No kidding.
And we'd be set. And then we would grab, sandwich makings or chips or whatever for the day, little snacks for the day. And then when we got back at night, it would be more Dutch oven type stuff. He did ribs in the Dutch oven.
Ooh.
It was unbelievable. So that was my introduction.
Okay. So getting back to that is not something that's been
There was so much work involved.
Yeah. There is. That's how what you're describing is how I grew up hunting. Because we used to elk hunt as a kid. Like, I've been an elk hunter since the beginning, right? And what you described was my elk camp every year. Because my dad's a farmer, and we grew up on a farm, grew up farming in Idaho, and we couldn't hunt in September or October. So it was a November late season elk hunt with a rifle every year, and we always took 8 to 10 days or more. And we did the same thing. You had sleep tent, cook tent. Dad brought the Traeger with his grill or with his trailer. He would bring the Traeger, generator, like, I'm talking New York steaks, and you did gain 10 pounds. We hunted hard.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned to hunt hard, but it's like, you enjoyed it. And they were going to put down the beers, man.
Yeah.
It was a good old time.
That, and that is so much different from the backpack style. And I, long time ago, I fell in love with backpack hunting.
Right.
I've always been a guy. My favorite word growing up was like kit.
Okay.
Like my first aid kit.
Yeah. All right.
I was always, rearranging my first aid kit, or I'd have my survival kit. I just geeked out over that stuff.
Yep. And you're still doing it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I love it.
My tackle box, when I was growing up fishing, I was always reorganizing my tackle box. That was one of my favorite pastimes.
Okay.
But it all had to do with gear.
Right.
I wanted everything just right.
Yep.
And that's why I think I like backpack hunting, because
Same.
I can have my gear, the stuff that works for me.
Yep.
And I can have it arranged in my pack the way I want it, with my pack sacks and all of that.
Right.
It's just a different mindset.
Totally different that way.
Than the base camp type stuff. There's advantages to both of them.
I think the most well-rounded hunters do both, and they do both on the same hunt in a sense. Like, I think that if you can be mobile at times, if there's a lot of times during the same hunt, if I've got a 10-day window, I might stay at camp and do some day hunts where I'm putting in miles. And then there's times where I get into some country that I'm like, there's bulls or there's bucks or there's bears in that country, and I want to stay back there off my back to really just expand on that, be able to hit all those angles. Like, I think there are some advantages to doing both.
Yeah.
It's cool that you talk about you falling in love with backpack hunting, because I did the same thing. And when I talk to people about being in love with spring bear, yes, I love bears, but I really love backcountry spring bears. Like, I want to live off my back. And the other reason I really love that, we're the same. We're gearheads, right? I absolutely love that hunt because it's the first hunt of the year, and I've usually got a plethora of new stuff that I'm either writing a review on or testing. And so it's like, this is the initial. So I look at it like I am so eager for that hunt every year, because I know we're going to get some crazy weather.
Yep.
Because it's spring in Idaho. Yep. We're going to get all of the weather, the vast differences in a variety of weather. And it's like, I'm going to hunt off my back. It's always a week or so. So I'm like, let's go. Like, this is where I really get to try all these things, get to play with some of the gear that I like to change, get to use the same gear that I already use. I love it for that reason.
Yeah. So back up just a second. I completely agree with you. But the reason I haven't done a whole lot of base camp stuff is because of the time.
Yeah. That makes sense.
The last 20 years. I mean, I've been with one of my businesses. I'm a consultant, so I'm on call
right.
24 hours a day. Now, I don't get a whole lot of those, you know, like backcountry veterinary calls at 2 a.m. to come pull a calf or anything like that.
Right.
But I'm on the call, and so I have to be available. And so therefore I only have, sometimes I only have 3 days, or sometimes, on a long hunt, I might have 7 days, but that's been a real treat for me.
Yeah.
And now with Initial Ascent, before we got the rock stars that we have, around here to really, just run the business.
Right.
We hadn't been able to leave.
Joe
and I it's us. When we leave, the business needed to keep running.
Right.
And so you talk about some stressful times. So if you go back to talking about the amount of time and preparation it takes for that base camp.
Yep.
It takes a lot of time.
It's a lot of work. It really is. It's nice. It's convenient. And I felt like in my experience over the last, 15 plus years of base camp hunting, now that I'm incorporating with my backpack style, I think there's such a good balance. So for example, what I like to do if I'm going on an extended hunt, I like to set up a good base camp. Okay. I usually like a wall tent style setup, or honestly nowadays I try to go with like a rooftop tent as well, or rooftop tent style. I really enjoy that. I've had it on the truck in the past. I think if you can set up a trailer with a rooftop tent, that's the ultimate, because you can still drop it and move with the truck without having to use a side-by-side or an ATV.
So like a jumping jack type deal?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That type of a setup, I think, is the ultimate. I'm working on setting up a trailer right now, potentially.
Man.
I think it would be ideal that I could still pull a four-wheeler on, still use if I needed for that. We'll see where we end up that way. But what I'm getting at is I think that blend works really well. So for example, what I like to do now is like I will take my 5K and I will have it completely prepped with all of my backcountry gear, because I have enough gear to set up my base camp and have my backcountry camp still ready to go. So I'll use an entirely different sleep system at my base camp. Whether that's different, like literally everything different. Different pad, different bag, all the above. I will keep my 5K fully loaded, ready to go. So if we're out on a day hunt, like in September, we find some country where I'm like, no, I want to come back in here. When we come back in tomorrow, like we're going to stay 2 nights. I can literally go back to camp that night, eat dinner, throw my 5K on my frame and roll next morning, like already ready to go. That's usually how I always keep it. And then I'll just run my day mode setup with my daily gear, usually like my Cub, all-time probably favorite piece of gear.
It's an
like
awesome accessory.
That thing is a game changer. It's got all of my like needs. So I got puffy jacket, puffy pants in there, depending on the time of year. Like that thing has always got the necessities, like the things I need to get to fast when I'm on a long glassing session or whatever it may be. So pop that thing off, throw the 5K on, throw the Cub back on, boom, ready to roll for 3-day backcountry hunt.
That's awesome. So you said that you take you use different pads, different sleep system in your base camp versus now do you mean that you're taking a duplicate and you're taking another? Great question. Or are you taking different as in, hey, at base camp, it's heavier, it's more comfortable?
That. So like, for example, a lot of times if I'm on a base camp setup, well, you saw this on the elk hunt last year. I'm going to have a cot, a 2-person cot, because I can in my sheep, in my wall tent, and I'm going to have a 2-person pad, and I'm probably going to open the quilt all the way up and sleep like I'm at home with a down comforter.
So basically, you're bringing your king size bed,
correct? Yes,
into camp with you, and you know what? It doesn't matter, because all you're doing is making sure that you can carry it from your pickup to wherever you're going to set it up, and that's it.
So here's another part of that. Yes, you nailed it, because I'm not packing that in with me. We're driving there. Here's the other thing that I did on 2 different hunts, on my archery deer hunt last year and on my elk hunt. I'm bringing camp in with a side-by-side a lot of times too. So roads that I can't get to with a pickup truck, We are loading that thing down. Like last year to set up that big elk camp, I think I took 2 or 3 trips in with everything. I'm still bringing a Blackstone to cook on. Like we're doing it the right way. We're going to set up generators, lights. I'm going to do it that way if I have a base camp.
Yeah.
But you can still bring that in with side-by-sides and stuff that they have out nowadays.
Yeah.
So I think that's another little advantage. But yeah, I'm sleeping like I'm sleeping at home. Like that's, in my opinion, and we talked about this a little before we hit the record button, is now I am at a point in my life now where I am going to pack comforts, even on a backcountry hunt. Like I'm just going to be in better shape. Yeah. I had this conversation with someone over Instagram the other day. Like I'm just going to be in better shape. If I got to get in better shape, perfect. That's one of my passions.
So
anyways.
You can pack maybe an extra pound.
Exactly.
I'm doing the same thing as I get older.
Yep.
The one thing that I have to be able to do is I have to be able to sleep.
Right.
And I have to be able to glass comfortably.
Yeah.
For a long period of time. Especially, we're at spring bear season right now. I'm leaving on Monday for a 6-dayer, and my lower back, I need some support. And so I'm going to bring something that weighs an extra pound.
Yep.
But it's going to assure me that I can sit out there for hours.
For like a chair.
Yeah.
Is that what you're getting at? What's been the go-to for you?
Well, I've used several over the years.
Yep.
I've used that Helinox.
Yep.
The problem with that, it's a great camp chair, but the problem with that is you've got legs and it's light.
Yep.
But when you're sitting on a hill, you got to find
you got to carve a spot out, right?
Yeah.
Been there, done that. Yep.
And if the ground's wet or moist like it is in the spring, you're going to be digging in, sinking down, and all that. So, especially for the spring, I've gone to more like and I've done this for years, but I've gotten that Crazy Creek.
I love that thing.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Yep. So
I've killed more animals out of it.
Okay. All right.
Than I have anything else because it creates a perfect, solid backrest.
Yep. Oh, 100%.
So if
you can do so much with that chair.
You can. Absolutely.
So here's the other thing I love about that chair. I found myself when I brought like a Helinox or the Big Agnes Skyline UL chair, I always still brought a pad. And the reason that I did that on backcountry hunts is I want to be able to kneel on that pad getting in and out of my tent.
Oh, yeah. It's great. Yep.
So now I'm not bringing a chair. This last year, I haven't been bringing a chair anymore. That changed mid-fall last year, and I'm just running the Crazy Creek because when I get back to camp, I lay it out. That's my pad as I get in and out of my tent, as I'm adjusting things, whatever I may be doing with that. The other really awesome thing about that chair, that the Crazy Creek style, is they are so comfortable in so many different areas. Like you're talking about those steep hillsides. They're rock solid.
Yep.
The other thing I did just on this backpack bear hunt that we just came from, there were stumps out around a little fire pit area that we had where we ended up putting up our backcountry camp.
Yep.
I put my Crazy Creek on that thing and I was sitting in a lawn chair, like literally like this, sitting in a lawn chair around a campfire. And I'm like, these things are awesome. And they're a little heavier.
They are.
I'm just going to be in better shape because this is comfortable.
Oh, absolutely. And, and those comforts like that allows you to hunt more days, not only physically, but mentally.
I think that's bigger in my
mentally
opinion.
Is probably bigger.
Totally agree with that. And you talked about you've got to get sleep and you got to be able to glass for long periods of time. Totally agree with that. That's another reason I'm bringing comfort. But the other thing that usually adds up in my pack is food.
Oh, yeah.
I know my body requires a lot of fuel.
And here's something for the audience right here. Let's just go on and say it.
Yep.
Never, ever, ever skimp on food.
Yep.
Never skimp on your calories.
Don't do it.
It's not worth it.
It's not going to pay off ever. Nope. Like it never works. I've done that. Been there, done that. I'm like, I'll get by. And I get foggy after 5 or 6 days because I'm in a calorie deficit for that extended period of time. Yeah. Or I start making decisions like my body just doesn't feel good. I'm not going over that ridge.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to hunt that way.
No.
Like I'm at a point in my life now, I'm training year round for one goal, and that's to fill tags.
Yep.
And so it's like, I am going to be in the best shape I can. Why would I not fuel myself properly?
Always. You got to always fuel yourself. Okay. So like Dan Staton will say, always be tinkering.
Yep.
I'm always tinkering.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop at my food. I'm always,
Same.
messing with that. I did carnivore for a while.
Right.
I tried to do carnivore in the backcountry, and you definitely got to, number one, you've got to be used to it.
Right.
You can't just decide, hey, I'm going to be low carb, when I go on my hunt, because, I don't want to poop all over myself or something like that.
You're going to bonk if you do that.
You're going to bonk.
You absolutely will.
Your body is not ready for that. You're
Correct.
not, taking that fat and converting it, to usable energy in place of carbs.
Right.
There's an adaptation period that you have to do that.
Absolutely.
So, that's another important thing that I've learned over the years. Don't change up your diet.
No.
If you can help it,
Yeah.
to go on a hunt.
Right.
I like to eat some of these meals before I go out on the hunt, just to kind of get ready. So a day or two before I go out on the hunt, I'll kind of start eating what I'm going to be eating. Not as much, obviously.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But some of these things that I'm going to be eating.
Are you doing that with dinners too, or just snacks?
No, I'll do it with dinners too.
That's really smart.
Yeah, So I've gotten into freeze drying. I haven't bought one, but I've got friends that are really good friends, and they've helped me out with letting me run some stuff in their batches.
Right.
And so I'm eating what I'm normally eating.
Yeah, which is a game changer.
It is.
Once your body gets used to that fuel.
It tastes great,
Yep.
but your body's used to it.
Yep.
And so I tested out one just the other day that I hadn't ever freeze dried before, but it's an amazing meal that my wife makes. We call it it's some kind of hash, sweet potato hash or something like that. So It's got sweet potatoes, it's got peppers, onions, it's got either ground beef or deer or elk, whatever you want to use.
Right up my alley.
And it's got some rice in there as well. So it's got a lot of fat. It's got a lot of carbs.
Good clean protein with it.
Man.
Checks the boxes.
Lots of protein. You're checking all those macro boxes.
Yep.
And at the same time, it doesn't tear your stomach up.
Right. I think that's one of the biggest things too, that you eating that type of food in preparation is going to help benefit that. Mm-hmm. My wife is a nutrition coach. So that's the biggest issue that I run into. I feel like we're probably going to bite the bullet before long and do the freeze-dried option on our own, because we meal prep all day long anyways. And then I go on a mountain and I completely change my dinner. Like most of my snacking's the same. Okay. And my breakfasts are fairly similar that way. Because my go-to, I told you this last year, my go-to's been some type of granola and powdered milk, like in a bag. Yep. So I've started doing my own breakfasts that way. But it's the dinners. They add up. And a lot of times I know my body and how many calories I burn. I'm eating 2 meals a night.
Yeah.
Or even a meal or two and a dessert option, like the peak cobblers. Mm-hmm. Those are my weakness right now, man. I bring one almost every night on that bear hunt.
Yeah.
They're so good. And I need those calories on hunts.
You do.
And so when we're talking about like the necessities, in my opinion, food is absolutely at the top of that list, which my pack's always heavier than, like, for example, when we went with Roger and Matt on that, when I went with them on my backpack bear hunt, my pack's going to be heavier. I've got almost double the food they have. Okay. And I ate it all. Like I'm to a point now which is another also really important tip in my opinion, is pack stuff that you're going to enjoy. Yeah. If it's a little bit heavier, get in better shape, prepare in the off season, because if you're not eating it, you're not fueling yourself properly. And I did that for years. I'm like, oh, this is lighter, whatever. The protein count's good. The macros are good. But if it doesn't taste good and you don't enjoy it, it's not benefiting you at all, because I know how it works. It goes in the next day's pack. I'll eat that tomorrow. And then it goes in the next day's food bag, and it doesn't get ate, and you're carrying it and you're not fueling yourself. So then you start to feel terrible.
Yep. So speaking of food, so there's a big difference between what you're going to take on a backpack hunt versus what you may take for a base camp hunt.
Absolutely.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm honestly, like a base camp hunt, I'm eating like I'm eating at home. The only differences that I have that way are a lot of times I'm out of that base camp super early in the morning, and sleep's important to me. Yep. So I'm not going to like wake up and make a breakfast like I would at home. Like
Gotcha.
a pretty normal breakfast for me. I'm not a huge breakfast guy anyways, personally.
Okay.
Like a lot of times my breakfast is on the go at home anyways, like a yogurt bowl. So I get my protein and my macros in to hit right first thing in the morning. But it's usually at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. And I've already been up for 3 or 4 hours at that point. So the only difference that way is at a base camp, it's usually on the go. So like I'll bring that powdered milk cereal option to eat during the morning glassing session while I'm glassing, right? Yeah. But dinners at base camp hunting, oh man, I'm doing it the right way. Like it makes such a big difference. It's also not just are you fueling yourself properly. I feel like there's a morale boost to that.
Absolutely.
Like you've been at some of my base camps. Like we ate deer steak on my last one, at that elk camp
and
before
potatoes.
we went out. Yep. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm doing potatoes. We're getting carbs. We're getting good fats, and we're going to have really clean protein because I'm going to usually do deer or elk.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do like a burger hash on a Blackstone, throw it all up with some potatoes.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty common at a base camp setup for me. Now, if it's like I'm truck camp hunting and I'm only going to be there for 2 days, but it's not somewhere I need to back into. Sometimes I don't always, prep a full meal. Like maybe I'll eat a peak or something at dinner, but most of the time it's pretty, they're good meals.
Yeah.
And lunches are similar between base camp and backpack hunting because it's on the run usually. I'm always out hunting. Same thing with my breakfasts. But that's the biggest difference is dinner, in my opinion, between backcountry hunts and base camp hunting to me. Is it similar for you?
Absolutely. And I'm not as used to the base camp hunting, but boy, I like it when I'm in somebody's base camp because. And here's the thing, I'm always on a backpack hunt. I'm always doing for myself.
Right.
That's who you worry about. You worry about yourself. I get in trouble when I go to somebody's base camp because, like, they've brought coolers worth of stuff and all this, and they've thought about all the stuff. It's a different mindset.
Very different.
I don't think about that. And so I kind of feel like a schmuck a little bit because I'm crowding into somebody's base camp and they're feeding me deer steak and they're feeding me potatoes and all this. And I'm like, shoot, I should have brought some.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yep. It is different that way. Like the preparation is totally different.
It is. Yeah. You really have to think about it beforehand. I just went to Costco yesterday and going on a hunt, Costco is one of my favorite places.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm going to go get the fuels that I want.
Yep.
And a lot of them are the stuff that I eat every day anyway, but you just need more of it, right?
Right, absolutely.
And so I think my backpack style hunting, especially my meals in the evenings, are I'm going to try to make them more like what I'm actually eating at home. And that's where that freeze dryer comes in handy.
Yep. Game changer that way.
This hash that my wife makes is absolutely amazing, and I will crush it at home, and I feel great the next day that night. It's huge. And so I found that works, and I could eat that literally every night.
Okay.
But I'll probably switch it up. One night I'll just do a flat out biscuits and gravy.
Yep.
Or something
totally
like that.
Understand that. Because it's good.
So I got to call Roger because he just made a bunch of biscuits and gravy, I think, and I'm going to steal one of those.
You
from
should.
him,
Yep,
hopefully.
You should.
I'll sweet talk him, And
so that was one of my questions because we've talked about packing for comfort.
Yes.
Are you a Brady Miller mindset, food is fuel, like you're going to eat what you have to eat, or are you bringing what you enjoy?
Both.
Okay, I'm the same way.
Both. I will bring a freaking pack of Oreos.
Yep.
For, the little 2-pack of Oreos, and that'll be a treat. For the day. It just helps me. You know what I used to take?
It's a morale boost.
It is. It's a morale boost.
Yeah.
I used to bring a bag, like a little Ziploc bag of Fruity Pebbles.
Ooh, I like that actually.
And
never done that.
If you eat too many Fruity Pebbles, you'll pay for it.
Yeah. Yes.
But just having that
little bit
and having that crunch and that brings me back to my childhood.
Yeah.
Type
Okay.
thing.
Okay. Some nostalgia with it. I like that.
And I just love it. Plus, it gives you that charge of sugar and
100%.
carbs,
Yep.
and you've read about like the PCT and how guys that do it. I mean, there's some of them that'll stop by the Jiffy store ahead of time and get like a bunch of
Bag
these
of candy of
donuts.
Yep. And carbs. Yes.
Yeah. And
carbs and sugars.
yeah, Twinkies and stuff like that, and they're just pounding that, and it doesn't matter. The thing is it's nutrients, and it's nutrients when you need the nutrients.
Absolutely.
So those are really, really quick carbs that will give you quick energy, and you'll crash.
Yep.
But if you can combine those with some fats, combine them with some
longer lasting, slower releasing,
some slower releasing or slower digesting carbs.
Yep.
If you can kind of do a nice blend of those to where you have an energy level that's just kind of sustained out there.
Yeah.
And then if you need a little bit extra, grab something that it's really quick sugar or something like that you can just pop, and you've got it right now.
Yep.
I don't know. I always think about that, and I'm always tinkering with stuff like that.
Same way that way. I have a giant sweet tooth.
Oh yeah.
Like that's my weakness. Like when my nutrition's dialed at home, that's where I struggle.
Yeah, preach.
And like candy's my thing.
Oh,
like
yeah?
you're gonna give me some sour candies or some gummy bears.
Okay.
Like,
So those are some go-tos?
So those are what come with me on a hunt.
Okay.
Like I'm definitely bringing a bag or two of like whatever it may be. Some like my wife's a nutritionist, so like the red 40s and stuff usually don't make it in the pack.
Right.
So a lot of times it's like a better version of like there's a lot of companies out there that are now making like Sour Patch Kids that don't have a lot of the dyes. That stuff always makes it in the pack.
Okay.
Like I'm bringing a bag of that, maybe 2 bags for a couple day hunt, for a 5-day hunt, because same thing. I'm going to look forward to it. It's fast sugar if I need it. Mm-hmm. And it's just a morale boost. Like that's not what I'm going to sit there and eat for lunch, obviously.
Right.
But like the end of the day, sometimes like that dessert type option is always nice. Or like the midday when you get the low where it's like, I could really use a nap right now, but we should probably get to that next ridge. Mm-hmm. I'm going to blend that with a slower digesting carb at my lunchtime. And it's good. Yeah, I enjoy it.
Absolutely. Do you have so one thing I've done for years is actually thrown in something like my go-to is a Werther's Original.
Ooh,
I grew up on those. My grandma introduced me to those years and years ago when I was little. But I'll have some of those in my pack. Yeah. And I'll throw one of those in like for the hike in or during the pack out. And I've just always got one of those in my mouth.
That's a great idea.
And you're sucking on something.
That. Yep.
And it gives you that sugar.
Yeah.
It's awesome. You should try it.
I am going to try that. Since you mentioned that, do you know what I've started doing recently is actually, I know you're a coffee guy.
Okay.
Coffee pouches.
Coffee pouches. Okay.
Grinds is a company that makes coffee pouches. Oh. So like a nicotine, like a tobacco pouch, but they're coffee.
Okay.
So you get some caffeine. They're flavored, whether you like a flavor. Mm-hmm. That's been my go-to now.
Really?
So
I haven't tried that.
They are delicious.
They don't tear your stomach up?
Not at all.
Okay.
None whatsoever. Like, I don't know that you get enough of it that it would, to be honest.
Sure.
But I love coffee and I like the caffeine, but I really enjoy the flavor of them too. And it's the same thing. Like I want something in my mouth, something distracting. Mm-hmm. So like, I really, really enjoy them during long glassing sessions. Okay. Like Spring Bear brought a whole little can of them because it's like as I'm sitting there glassing, every couple hours I'm putting another coffee pouch in, and they're 25 milligrams per pouch.
So do they come in a little like
a tin, like a chew can?
Skull can?
Yeah. So everybody probably thinks I got a can of Copenhagen in my pocket, but no, it's coffee, and they are awesome. Long glassing sessions, like especially during the spring when I'm picking them out apart for bears, I might have 2 or 3 coffee pouches during that session.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so speaking of coffee, something I learned from you.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about creature comforts here.
Yes.
Talk to me about this little black and red apparatus that you bring with you on hunts.
The AeroPress.
Which I now have.
Yes.
What's it called?
AeroPress.
Yes. Speak.
Buy one.
Speak.
Buy one. If you don't have one, buy one. My sergeant, when I was a cop, introduced these to me. So shout out to Scott McCain.
Okay.
They are awesome. Like,
So,
I've done the instant coffee. Done it. No, thank you.
Been there.
I love coffee. I want good coffee. Like
Good
back
coffee.
home, I want good coffee. On the mountain, I really want good coffee.
Right.
So it's sweet. It's like a French press. It's super lightweight, little plastic. If you haven't seen one, look them up. They have like a French press plunger.
Yep.
Bring coffee grounds. It's super simple. So here's the biggest thing. I've done French presses in the past on backcountry hunts. They're like impossible to clean.
Okay.
It's awful.
Okay.
Always have to have water to try and clean the grounds out of the cup. It never works out well, right? But you place a little filter on this plastic thing, right? You put the filter in there, you put your coffee in there, you put boiling water in there, you press it like French press style, right?
And you're going down slow?
Yep. Go down nice and slow. And then the best part about this, one, the coffee's phenomenal, but the cleanup, awesome. You literally just pop that little top off, grab your filter off, and then just push your grounds out. And there's no wipe down, no water that's required for it. Done. Put it back in and go. I love it. That is like, I'm not going without it now.
Yep.
Not bringing instant coffee. You get to pick what coffee you want.
Yep.
Do you want some Black Rifle? Do you want whatever you drink at home, whatever brand of coffee that may be? Maybe it's a local roaster that you have them grind your beans that you're used to every day and you enjoy. A good cup of coffee is a game changer to me. Like,
you introduced that to me on that elk hunt.
Yep.
And I don't know if you know this or not, but after I had that first cup of coffee, I found my way to a high point, and I went to Amazon.
I love it.
Where I had 2 bars of phone service. I went to Amazon and I ordered one immediately, and it was there 2 days after I got home.
Oh, I love
and I
it.
started using it in the house and just trying to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, it won't be left at home when I go on a hunt. It's always with me.
Yeah.
That's a comfort right there, because I love my coffee.
Same.
That is, especially in springtime, because, you know, when you get to later seasons and everything, especially, I mean, you get to August, September, and sometimes water's, you know, hard to find where
scarce.
where you're hunting. And springtime, the water is flowing
Everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's nice and clean.
Yep.
I mean, so you can run down to the creek real quick, you know, drop down a couple 100 feet, grab plenty of water, and you can have that coffee up there on that glass and knob, and oh man,
it's a game changer to me.
It is.
Like it's a comfort thing, and I'm like, I just really enjoy good coffee, because the other part of this is, so Matthew, one of my main hunting partners that you obviously know, brother-in-law, he's at the point where he's like, I think I'm bringing a like Yeti style thermos to enjoy my coffee. That's
he's
the point.
He's taking it to the next
He's
level.
taking it to the next level. Me, I just love coffee so much. I'm like, if it gets cold while I'm drinking it, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy it. I'm gonna keep drinking.
So are you bringing a titanium mug with
No,
you?
I drink it right out of the AeroPress cup.
Right
so
out of the
that's
AeroPress.
another way I save that weight. My
Okay.
opinion on it, I'm fine drinking cool coffee as it gets cooler. Like I get to enjoy the hot right off the bat. As it cools off, I can drink a cold cup of coffee. Not a big deal to me at all. So I'm not going to bring an extra cup. That is my cup. The AeroPress, the plastic side of that's my cup.
Most of the time for me, the coffee's not going to be around long enough.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
You know, I
Are you
love
bringing
drinking
a
it.
cup? Titanium style cup?
I have in the past.
Okay.
I'm not going to this year. I'm just bringing the AeroPress. I'm bringing my favorite coffee grounds.
Right.
And speaking of coffee grounds, real quick, what grind are you using? Are you using a fine? Are you for the press type deal? Or are you using coarse? Or what are you?
That's
doing?
a great question. I don't know. What I've actually found seems to work best in that are like the Black Rifle coffee bags. I really enjoy their flavor anyways.
Yep.
But like just a standard already ground, I don't even know if, I'm assuming they probably have different fine or coarse grades, but like the just black, like some of those, that works phenomenal in there for me. Like I haven't had any issues with it.
We probably need to talk to Brady Miller
I think
about
it's
that.
It's got to be a finer grade though, because I tried using it in like my espresso machine the other day because I ran out of coffee, which is like should never happen. It was terrible.
You have an espresso machine?
Yeah, I told you I like good coffee.
Yes, you do.
So I make an Americano every morning to drink.
I haven't gone to that level.
Yes, we're there,
dude.
Like foamed milk for my wife's latte in the afternoon. Like absolutely, yeah. That's us. Yeah, you get the raw milk from a dairy, and that's what I'm foaming my milk with. I'm telling you, I'm a coffee snob. That's come from my wife. So,
wow. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I thought I liked coffee, but man, you've taken it to
you
a
do like
level.
coffee, but I love coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, I was telling you that, you know, we probably need to consult with Brady Miller.
Yeah.
That dude is he knows his coffee.
Does he? Okay.
Man. Yeah.
Okay.
He is a coffee guru.
Well, I got a feeling Brady's going to be on the Mountain Dude podcast before long. So
we got to get him here for
absolutely.
sure.
We'll have some coffee conversation.
Absolutely have a coffee conversation.
And we'll explain to him he doesn't have to smash his sandwich in a sandwich baggie too. His food is fuel thing. I don't know. I like the aesthetic of it too.
But you know, back to the backpacking thing, and you know, and the ounces and all that. You know, Brady's one of those that he'll tell you he's going to shave ounces on everything that he can, with the exception of two things.
I know where you're going.
One, his glass.
Yep.
He's going to bring the glass that helps him get the job done most optimally.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's going to bring the biggest spotter, and you know, and he's going to bring a tripod that's going to support it, and then he's going to bring a heavy rifle, because he wants to make that shot count.
Absolutely.
I can't argue with him there. I can't argue with him.
I'm in the same scenario now. Like my tripod, I don't bring a lightweight tripod. Like I bring a tripod I can shoot my rifle off of.
Gotcha.
Like I'm going to clip my rifle in there with a ball head, and I'm going to be able to shoot off of it.
Yep.
I'm just going to be in better shape. And that's one of the reasons Brady can. You see the dude, if you follow him on Instagram, the guy's running weekly, almost daily. Like the guy's putting the work in the off season.
Oh yeah.
And that's the same thing. My mentality is the same way. Like I'm just going to be in shape.
Yep.
Like I'll bring a 12-pound rifle. My spotter is going to be heavy. My tripod's going to be a little heavier because I want it to hold my rifle. The bear that I killed this year, shot him off a tripod. Like my elk, actually I'm trying to remember the last thing I killed without. I don't know the last thing I killed with a rifle that wasn't on a tripod.
Now, what are you using on your tripod for a head as far as to...
So I use the Two Vets Ruck, which they're not making now.
Okay.
AZAC makes, I think they call it their Front Country.
Okay.
That's a pretty slick setup. But most tripod, like you can actually mount an Arca rail to your rifle that'll translate.
Yep.
That would be my recommendation, or my Bergara MG Light is compatible. So I'm not having to do anything. I'm literally popping off binos, mounting that rail directly to my head.
Yeah, and that's a pick rail.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I know Druitt Tricer, they've got, pick rail adaptive or Arca adaptive, on their pieces as well. And that's a really slick setup to be able. A lot of people don't realize, if they haven't done it a ton, especially if they haven't, hunted with a rifle a ton, you're not going to get prone most of the time.
No, not on a backcountry hunt, especially.
Exactly. I remember one hunt. I was in Colorado and spotted a buck that was bedded. Probably, I think it was like at 7:30.
Okay. Nice
buck. And I was up, and if you've ever hunted Colorado, you've got buckbrush, and you've got
never have
all those was the oak brush, and it's just nasty. So I'm sitting up there on this side of this hill, and I'm trying to figure out there's no way to get prone. You've got to stay up high enough because it was a really decent decline.
Okay.
And I sat in my chair. I found a rock to sit on. I sat in that Crazy Creek chair and just buckled myself down where I had a solid backrest, and there was a huge rock right here. I was able to get my elbow there because I'm a wrong-handed shooter. And then I set my tripod up and actually turned that. I've got the little shorty handle on there.
Okay.
I turned it into a V.
Oh, okay.
And set my rifle on there. But it literally took me 30 minutes to get everything set up.
Right.
But once I got everything set up, it was
rock steady.
It was great.
Right?
And a lot of times you're not going to have that much time. So the type of system you're talking about is money for those
Pick rail,
situations.
ARCA compatible is absolutely a game changer.
Yep.
And it's a game changer to like ensure like everything's right when you make that shot. Like I can make sure my bubbles level, lock that thing in place. Or like I'm at the point now where I kind of leave it semi loose, like my ball head a little bit, so that I can make that adjustment. Yep. Like as I'm tracking that animal to before, like that bear this year, just before he stops, like I can make those adjustments as I'm moving, and it's a game changer that way for me.
Yeah, and it's not herky jerky or anything like
exactly.
that.
And it's not having to literally move my seating position to make it fit in, because we've all seen the rifle clamps and all of that. Like a lot of times you've got to literally like pick your little tripod up, change angles of it if you're changing an angle, even a short distance.
Yeah.
So being able to actually clip into that tripod is a huge game changer in my opinion.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah. But that's another thing, you talk about the 12-pound rifle. You talk about, I mean, this is the weapon that you're going to be able to punch that tag with. And so in my opinion, that's not necessarily where you need to be, trying to shave weight.
Totally agree. You can cut those in other areas.
You definitely can.
Well, and while we're talking about it, let's talk about packing your fears.
Sure.
Because I think we've all done it. If you haven't done it, then you probably haven't done this long enough. You just don't realize you're doing it.
Yep.
Because most people do it, especially early on. I did it.
Yep.
I mean, can you give us some examples of what stuff you've packed in the past that you don't pack anymore?
4 headlamps.
Yeah. 4?
4.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. And part of it was because this was before the, like the Peaks headlamp that lasts so long, the battery lasts so long.
Right.
These batteries didn't last very long.
Okay. That makes sense.
And I tend to lose things sometimes. I don't anymore, but back in the day, I had this headlamp, and if that one went out, then I had this other headlamp, and then I had a couple more that were just stuffed away. One was in my bino harness. That way, I always had one on my person.
On the stock or whatever, maybe.
And then I always had a dedicated pocket that I would put an extra headlamp in. It was funny. I didn't like carrying extra batteries.
You just carried 4 headlamps.
I just carried 4 headlamps.
I'm not changing the batteries.
This is a long time ago.
Okay.
Probably, I don't know, 20 years ago.
Right.
But yeah, I would do that. I had a buddy that he would carry a can of bear spray, a pistol, and 2 clips.
Oh boy.
So
over the top in that scenario.
Yeah, and this is on elk hunt,
in grizzly country.
No,
not in what?
No. I did prepared.
Holy, for the Revolutionary War.
Prepared. but you know what? It's just another example
100%
of kind of overdoing things, overthinking things. A lot of times especially when we're getting prepared for a backpack hunt, you're thinking, I'm going to be out for a week, and I've got to make sure that I have every single thing that I could ever need or want.
Right. That's a huge thing in my opinion.
Right.
When we're talking about packing your fears. Is it actually a need? Is it a want?
Exactly.
Yep. And in my opinion, like those needs obviously vary based off of conditions, and something we haven't really talked a ton about is conditions. That changes things. If it's an early season hunt, I can get away with less. If it's a late season hunt, that changes things. But those needs, in my opinion, are like the survival things. Like I'm not skimping on my survival kit. So for like example, I'm always bringing a rat's tourniquet. And if the listeners don't know what a rat's tourniquet is, look it up. Actually, there's some videos on the Initial Scent YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure where Rogers talked about them in his first aid kit in the patch.
We can put a link right up there.
Boom. Chase will work his magic. Yeah. And so that like that first aid kit, that is super essential to me. So for example, I carry that on my person in my bino harness.
The rat's tourniquet.
Yep. So like my emergency save my life stuff, all of it's on my person.
Gotcha.
So for example, in my bino harness, I've always got an extra pouch that I'm not using as a rangefinder pouch because I have a rat's tourniquet in there. And I always carry my headlamp on my person for whatever it may be, whether I'm away from my pack or not. It's just convenient to be able to get to it. The other thing I always carry is quick clotting gauze on my person. So that's always on my bino harness as well. So I've got a tourniquet. I've got some quick clotting gauze on my person in case things go really south.
Okay.
And I do have, like, I've got my possibles pouch, and in that possibles pouch in my pack that I always carry in my lid, I have another rat's tourniquet just in case somebody else needs one in a scenario.
2 is 1, 1 is none.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep, exactly. Well, and being a cop for 7.5 years, like, you're always taught to use that person's tourniquet on them. So my plan, if something happens, I'm probably using the tourniquet from my lid on somebody else just in case we get into a scenario. It's a lot different. Obviously, that's kind of a battlefield type setting. The backcountry setting's a little bit different, but you never know what could happen. Like we hear stories of broadheads going in legs, and thank the good Lord that's never been a scenario that I'm in, but I'm going to be prepared if I have to be. The other really nice part about that rat's, so it's super versatile, it's lightweight, but the best part about it, in my opinion, is you can use it on kids.
Oh.
So it's not like a cat tourniquet where you have, either your Velcro style system or your ratcheting style tourniquet.
You're limited by the diameter.
Exactly. Yes. So that rat's tourniquet, I could use it on a dog if I needed to.
Okay.
So if you're on a hiking trip or something, or a hunt with a younger kid, like that's a game changer. Like that's something you can use to save your kids. So that is worth its weight in gold, in my opinion. I don't leave without one. Like I keep them in my truck, all over the place. That's super important to me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I keep one in my truck, and I have 2 on me, when I'm hunting.
Yeah.
What are some things some fears that you've personally packed in the past?
It definitely is the headlamp thing. Like I didn't bring 4 headlamps, but I brought like 6 sets of batteries. Because it's like, what if this one gets wet? It's in a different pocket, and what if this Ziploc baggie fails? And so I would keep them in different places. Like I'd have batteries in this Ziploc in my possibles pouch. I'd keep some batteries in my lid. Keep some batteries in my toiletry kit. Way overkill with that.
Next thing you got 24 batteries.
Yes,
weigh 5 pounds.
Exactly. Yeah. That's probably worse than bringing 4 headlamps.
I know, but I've done the battery thing too.
Yeah,
I really have. And then guess what? When you get to the end of the season, you haven't used any of your extra batteries, and then fast forward to the beginning of the next season when you're going through your stuff and you're getting all organized and everything.
Yeah.
Your brain goes back like, okay, how long have these batteries been in there?
Right.
Are
they still full?
You know what? I'm not going to chance it. And you throw them all away, and you get brand new batteries.
Well, absolutely.
And
Been there, done that.
The cycle continues.
Yep. Been there, done that. The nice part is I don't hardly pack batteries for anything. Like my backup headlamp takes batteries, so I keep batteries in the backup headlamp. That's it.
Yeah.
Now, so I've kind of learned that that's really not a need. That's a want. That's a fear that I'm packing.
Yeah.
That's probably the most common thing that I always brought. The other side of it is I am notorious for bringing too much water on backpack hunts.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm just like, part of it's like for example, on this last trip, it's a spring hunt. We're going to have water everywhere. I packed in 9 liters.
You just never know.
We camped right next to water. And did I know we'd find water probably close? Yeah. But the other side of it too is I train, so I'm in shape for it. So I'm like, that's not that big of a deal to me. Now I don't have to take the time to go get it. But I will do that on scenarios where it's like, I don't need this. Like it's almost a fear, like that we're going to run out of water.
Well, it's a real fear too.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
One of my elk hunts, and this was later September that I was on, we were at 9,000 feet, and the elk were hanging out up there.
Okay.
But you had to go 2 miles to get to water.
Okay.
And, I I elected not to because we were going to be venturing that way anyway.
Okay.
So I thought. And so I didn't bring as much water up the hill as I should have.
Okay.
Well, next thing you know, where we decided to put our spike camp up there, we were going to hunt the morning and then hunt our way basically to that water spot.
Okay.
Well, guess what? We got into elk.
Okay.
I ended up shooting a bull.
Oh, here we go. This is not going to be good.
And having to track it, and we tracked until dark. We ran out of water.
Ooh.
Probably about the time where we planned on making it down there to refill with water, but we were trying to be light and fast and all that. Dude, I was in bad shape.
Water is so important.
Yeah, and so that was a scenario where I think it's a fine line on, and I'm gonna do like you, and it's springtime, I'll pack 9 liters in just to make sure that I don't run out of water. I'm not going to get in that scenario. And,
it's not worth it.
It was warm, warmer than what it probably should have been that time of year, but you just never know. No. You got to be prepared.
You do in that scenario.
Carry a little bit of extra water. That's one thing that I'm not going to take any chances on.
Yeah. And it's smart because those scenarios can get dangerous. And I don't know what it is. There's something so weird about when you start realizing you're low on water. I'm like a dog that's been moving cattle all day long. I'm like, man, I'm so thirsty. I got to drink all of this liter right now. Like,
right.
Like I'm dying. It doesn't matter how many electrolytes I put in it. Like there's just some psychological part of that where it's like, I only got a liter left and I want to drink it all right now.
Yeah. And when you get behind on your hydration,
oh boy,
it is almost impossible in a backcountry hunt to get caught back up.
And while you're on that topic, that's another little tip for people about if you're not a consistent water drinker back home, which I try to be. I'm almost a gallon a day year round.
Wow.
That I just feel better that way. Yep. And a lot of what I do, I work outside all the time now. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's important that I have water, but the advantages you get from adding proper supplementation, sodium, electrolytes, and drinking a plethora of water before a hunt, a couple days before, that is a huge advantage.
Yeah, you're kind of staging yourself. You're getting super hydrated.
Yeah,
and I think the electrolytes are the important part.
Totally agree.
You can drink all the water you want when you're out there sweating and all that, and you think you're getting rehydrated. I mean, yes, from a water standpoint, you are, but all those electrolytes that you've lost, the salt especially, man, you've got to replace those things. Potassium, magnesium, you've got to replace all those electrolytes. And to be able to do like you're saying and get caught up before you even go, that's really important.
Yeah.
I do that on every trip as well. Just
should.
Make sure that I'm drinking a little bit of extra water before I go. Doing the electrolytes. I'm doing those every day anyway.
Yeah.
But
same.
But yeah. Now, what about since we're on water, real quick? What about like the Mountain Ops Ignite and the ones like that?
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing those out on the mountain?
Not Mountain Ops Ignite or any of that usually. I'm usually doing element packets.
Okay. So this is more of an electrolyte
thing. I don't usually do like a caffeine pre-workout type thing. Very rarely. I'll usually have like, whether it's a wilderness athlete, like Energy and Focus or a Mountain Ops Ignite. I do love the flavor of both of those brands make phenomenal flavors in my opinion. And that's kind of a comfort thing that tastes good. Warrior Fuel's another one that makes a really delicious kind of pre-workout type.
I've been liking the Black Flag here lately. That's pretty good stuff.
I do need to try that.
Yeah,
I need to try that. Here. Okay. But there's a lot of companies that make those, right, that are really good. Mm-hmm. But most of my like supplemented intake is electrolyte focused. So I don't usually go for the energy based ones. drinking coffee, and I get it from my caffeine. And those coffee pouches have been a really nice little boost for that as well.
Yep.
Majority of my supplementation is electrolyte based. Yep. So like on a backcountry hunt, it's not uncommon for me to drink 2 element packets a day.
Yep.
Just I'm getting the sodium, the potassium, and all of those electrolytes replenished. And I feel so much better when I do that. And while we're on the topic of like prepping beforehand, there's a balance, because you don't want to go drinking 2 gallons of waters a day for 3 days beforehand, because you can start to trick your body. It's a weight cut trick. It's like water loading. So for any wrestler or fighter that's done that in the past, like when I'm cutting weight for training, like, or for a fight coming up, like I'm going to water load that week. So don't overdo it. Don't go drinking 2 gallons a day for 3 straight days before you go out, so that now when you drink 1.5 liters, the first 6 hours of the day, your body instantly starts thinking, oh, like I'm dehydrated.
Yeah.
You can trick your body, and now you're going to put yourself in a bad spot. So there's a balance. But it's super important to do that ahead of time the right way.
That's a good tip. That's a really good tip.
Yeah. What are you doing? Any of the energy based supplementation, or is it
not
primarily
out there?
Okay.
Not out there. I really just, I stick to the electrolyte type thing out there.
Okay. Do you have a preference on what you use?
I've done the liquid IV.
Those are good.
And I've done the element. I'm kind of cheap, so the element gets a little spendy for me. But when it comes to your nutrition and everything, I probably want to do some more of that stuff. Right. I've done E-Charge from Stealthy Hunter.
Okay, I haven't tried that.
That's a good electrolyte supplement as well. Okay, pretty clean. And so I've tried a lot of them. I've done the Wilderness Athlete as well. I really like that.
Yeah.
So
it's mainly electrolyte based.
Mainly electrolyte based.
Do you save any of the energy ones for the pack out?
I've been known to.
That's one of my little go-tos usually, is I'll save like this spring bear hunt. I saved an energy and focus, that Wilderness Athlete one for my pack out.
Yep.
And I'll save like those Cliff energy blocks, like straight sugar carbs.
Yep.
For that pack out to start it.
Yep.
So like that's been my go-to. And then process my bear, pound, 16 ounces of that to start it, the trip, if you have the water available, obviously.
Yep.
And then, take some of that quick straight sugar and start a pack
Always
out
have some available. I've got the initial scent hip belt pouch, whether it be the large hip belt pouch or the regular one. I've always got readily available snacks in there. I've been known to not have snacks readily available, them been in my lid or in my food bag, and just keep going.
Yeah.
And then bonk.
Yep. And that's a common problem.
Because I don't want to stop.
Mistake. Yeah.
And it's just,
it's not worth it.
No.
You prepped all year for this. Yeah.
And if you got a pouch there, or
it's
you're
a
buying
game
a
changer
or something, just, take the time.
Well, you can get lots of snack in that large hip belt pouch. Like, use it.
Right.
Well, it's literally been a lifesaver for my brother-in-law, Matthew. Like, he's type 1 diabetic. That's his candy pouch, man. That's his goodies. When his sugar starts getting low, man, you turn around and here Matt's in the back eating gummy worms out of his large hip belt pouch.
That's right. But the thing is, you don't even have to take your pack off. It's just right there. And I think that's a great tip for guys,
totally
whatever
agree.
pack you're running, always get a hip belt pouch of some sort and, have a few snacks in there for whenever you need them. So.
Yeah. Well, and I like to, I love pack sacks. I'm the organized guy. Like I just gotta have it in line. We're in the same scenario there, right? So like having a hip belt pouch where I can put designated things, that's a game changer to me, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I know where it's at all the time. Like, for example, like my Digiscope, my on-glass adapters, always in a hip belt pouch. I know where they're at all the time. It's always on my pack, so it doesn't get left at my spike camp, my backcountry camp, and I'm like, get out there and want to get footage, and it's now not available.
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of packs, talk to me about what usually is your go-to for X amount of days, pack system wise.
So I'm going for 6 days coming up here this next week on spring bear hunt, and I'm going to bring my 5K.
Okay.
it's early.
6 days, 5 nights, or 6 nights.
6 days, 5 nights.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm going to bring my 5K, and I'm going to bring the Cub.
Okay. Must have, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I don't leave home without it.
Yep.
But I think it's going to be tight because I am going to bring the Peaks TP and the Peaks stove. But
it's so nice.
There's 2 of us going to be staying in there, so I can take some of that gear and share, with my buddy, and we can kind of split up the gear a little bit. I'm going to take one jet boil.
That's such a great tip. I'm glad you're talking about that, because that's another thing that I wanted to get into at some point was that conversation.
That may be a whole different podcast.
100%. Like, absolutely. Okay, continue.
Yeah.
Peaks TP.
Yeah, Peaks
5
TP.
days worth.
So yeah, I'm gonna bring 5, and I'll bring 6 days worth of food.
Okay.
Probably 6.5.
Smart.
Because you just never know.
You kill a bear morning or afternoon of day 6, and now it's 7 days.
But we will be, probably 7-8 miles from the truck.
Okay.
I always leave an extra bag back at the truck that's got extra stuff in there.
Great.
Extra socks, a change of clothes, that sort of thing. But I'm keeping 2 extra food bags in there.
Yep.
If I need to walk out, I can do it. I put an extra sleeping pad in there.
Yeah.
I put an extra shelter of some sort. It may only be like, a tarp type shelter.
Absolutely.
But I'm putting it in there. An extra puffy. You just never know what's going to happen. So my fears, we talked about fears. I'm keeping a lot of those in the truck.
Yeah. I think that's a great tip for people to do anyways, whether it's a fear or not, because back to what I talked about, my base camp versus my backcountry camp. Now, if you decide to relocate because you might not get into what you want to the first 2 days, you've still got 3 more nights.
Yeah.
You come back out, you don't have to tear your whole pack apart that night.
That's right.
You just set up your next camp and then you roll out next day. Like that is a huge tip.
Yeah. I always like to have that extras bag, and I've actually got a blog post on our website of that extras bag and what I'm carrying in there.
Okay.
Always put, if I'm archery hunting, I'm always having an extra release. I've always got extra arrows, extra broadheads, all that stuff right there at my truck. Extra game bags.
Yep. Oh, huge one right there.
Yeah. Yep. And a lot of times, I'll look at the forecast before I go in, and I'm always bringing a rain jacket. No question.
Okay.
But I don't always bring my bottoms, my rain bottoms.
So we're going to get to clothing. I do want to have that conversation. That's coming. That's part 2. That's part 2.
There you go.
We're going to get there. Okay. So 5K Cub.
Yeah. So 5K Cub. Always have a lid, obviously.
Yep. Pannier underneath the 5K.
Pannier underneath, always.
Now, are you a drop your 5K hunt with the Cub and pannier in day mode?
Yep.
Okay.
I do day mode because we'll be coming back to our spike camp every day.
Okay.
So, I'm always day mode with the Cub.
Yeah, I love it. That's a go-to. That exact system is 99% of my hunts.
It's light, it's fast,
so
and
nice.
You're packing out your animal immediately.
And it's a game changer that way.
Yep.
That's huge. Now, do you this is a rifle hunt, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you have any other accessories that you're bringing on that hunt?
As far as
bow holder, rifle holder, what do you?
Yeah, so I typically bring my rifle holder. I'm actually experimenting with a different method right now of carrying.
I like it. I think people are going to like this one once it.
Right, I got to steal that from Dan. Yeah, I'm always tinkering with stuff. My mind's always going on new products.
This is a fun one, too. I think people will like this one whenever it comes out.
So. It's so simple.
Yeah,
so
super simple.
And
there's your tease. I like it. Okay.
Exactly.
So tinkering with that.
Yeah.
1 hip belt pouch, 2 hip belt pouches.
I'm doing 1 hip belt pouch.
Okay. Large?
Doing the large.
Okay.
Yeah, and that I keep a tourniquet in there. And
Smart.
I keep snacks. I do have another accessory that I've developed and that I'm experimenting with that I may or may not keep an extra headlamp in there or something like that, or the headlamp that I'm going to carry, you know.
Oh, okay. I like that actually. Especially with this accessory as accessible as it is. That's a good one. Yeah. I like that.
So,
okay.
Yep. Got that. So
rain cover's probably always coming.
Rain cover
spring.
Always. Yep. Yeah. Always coming with me, rain cover. And, you know, of course, and this isn't our product, but I've always got the Peaks Origami TNT.
Yep.
That tarp tent setup. Always carry a tarp with me so I can set up.
Now that's not Dyneema, correct? That's a sill nylon.
It's sill nylon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. And but I will always never leave home without that.
A tarp is such a game changer in my opinion. I'm working on a review right now for a Z-Pack Dyneema tarp.
Okay.
It will never leave my pack.
Yeah.
Like it's just always something that can be used, whether it's the crap situation, I need to sleep here because I got way further than I wanted to, or the keep the sun off me, keep the rain off me, whatever it may be. That is a game changer piece in my opinion.
Yeah. Springtime, that tarp will come up. It'll get put up and taken down more times than you care to count.
Right.
But I mean, it keeps you out there longer.
100%.
Yeah. If it's starting, you know, if a storm blows in or something like that, it is definitely not. I'm not going back.
No.
You know, to the camp. I'm staying in there. I'll sit under that tarp.
Yep.
Because what happens when the storm blows through, sun pops out?
It's immediately following it too.
Yes, those
you got to be on glass.
They start popping out.
Be on glass.
You got to be ready.
Yep.
And in the spring, that's what happens. It's
Correct.
like storm will blow in, it'll pour for 30 minutes.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden it quits. The sun comes out, and then those bears will come right back.
And
out.
now it's go time.
Yep.
Absolutely. I like it. Okay. Well, let's. This is going to be a break. We're going to end part 1.
Yeah.
And we're going to do part 2.
Part 2's fun.
This has been a lot of fun. And part 2 is going to include clothing systems and a lot of that stuff.
So and whatever other gear rabbit
all
trail
the rabbit holes.
Yeah,
there will be lots of rabbit holes.
Right.
So
yep, this is fun, man.
Perfect.
Until next time, keep your eyes on the summit. This is the Mountain Dude Podcast, signing off.